Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. In this video, I'm going to show you the multi-pronged approach that Ripple is taking to get mass adoption, not only for their technology, but also for XRP, the digital assets. So usually I fly pretty high in my videos, meaning I highlight approximately 4 to 6 current events that are making a significant impact in the space. And I assume after that you take the stories that are of interest to you and you do your own research. And I highly recommend to always do your own research, because even those big brand media outlets like Forbes, they are not always giving the correct information out there. So yesterday I shared with you a pretty important slide presentation, which was created by Ripple just a few days ago. In fact, I think it was the first time it was shared on Twitter and YouTube. And when I woke up this morning and saw the amount of likes and shares, I thought, I just don't think people really got it. So I'm going to revisit it again, and especially after I saw this video on XRP Arcade this morning. This is the site by Leonidas. He is doing a fabulous job. It just gets better and better and better. This is David Schwartz talking on June 12th at the Future of Fintech event. And keep in mind that when you watch this video, this is before the world saw the white pages of the Libra coin by Facebook. So we all know that Ripple is focusing on the high friction international payments, and they are bypassing SWIFT. And the adoption is, well, as David says, well, it's slow or fast depending on how you look at it, because the revolutionary change for international finance is something you would not expect to happen overnight. And in addition, the current payment systems are a real piecemeal of work. They've had to go in and redo the plumbing, if you will. It's been so bad that a lot of these payment rails date to the days of batch computing. So when they went in to improve that, they actually created a new product, and that product everyone knows as XCurrent. It is a top-notch payment network. That is not arguable, and it can settle with the digital asset XRP. But still, Ripple has a struggle on their hands, according to David, that the banks are extremely conservative and very slow moving. And what they also found is that the non-bank institutions are much more fast moving and aggressive, much more than the banks, because everybody they are dealing with wants to save time and money. So the fact that XRP and XRapid still has some regulatory challenges, and it's in a very immature cryptocurrency market. The remittances in the high cost corridors has experienced now a workaround. This is very interesting. There are market makers and payment companies that are functioning as internal treasuries for that workaround to the limitations that they have found with the banks. So in addition, it is also something they found that XRP is completely open, and the liquidity has evolved organically. In this big open netting system, David says that if you build it, they will come, and they have come because of the openness of this ecosystem. So now this is where that new slide presentation is really fitting into place. Now is the time to capitalize on SMEs, cross-border payments. I had someone leave me a comment that said, this is just small business. Let me tell you, the B2B cross-border payments is a $125 trillion market, and the SME portion, the small to medium-sized businesses within that B2B cross-border payments, is 10 to 15 trillion. That is not a small number. And what Ripple is doing is a classic case of taking the path of least resistance. And we can see in that slide presentation, there's a breakdown of the individual countries, and there's a huge opportunity in Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe. The world is constantly changing, and those businesses that don't change are going to die. And if we take a look at also the small businesses, look at this. This is the United States. This is a developed country. You can imagine you go to the developing country, these numbers are even bigger. So 54% of all US sales are generated from small businesses. 99.7% of all US businesses account for small businesses. This is not a small market. And also, you'll find that the millennials, 92% want digital services. They want it to pay their bills, they want it to view transactions, they are very comfortable to view their statements. In fact, as early as 2016, the narrative was that the banks were losing up to a quarter of their business to fintechs. And that narrative has evolved to, they are just not fearing it. It is happening. And now it is articles like this, why big banks are losing to tech giants over open banking. So we have to understand that small business in the US is very translatable to the small businesses that are in these developing markets, which have very high cost of remittances. And this is what the focus is going to be. So I want to give you some real case situations of how those difficult corridors are actually being solved. This is two people that were introduced to us at the Swell event last October, and this is a real case of how two Ripple customers are leveraging from each other. One is in the UK and one is in Brazil. You met them in this video. This is here Prajit Nanu, he is from InstaRem, and this is Fernando Pavani, he is from Beetech. They are a match made in heaven, and Ripple was their matchmaker. When we go back to that presentation that I found in the slide, you can see here on slide 9 that InstaRem in the UK and Beetech in Brazil have formed a bridge across the Atlantic Ocean using Ripplenet, allowing them to establish new corridors for B2B payments and consumer remittances from Brazil to Spain, to Italy, to Germany, France, and Portugal. These are 5 new corridors just from 2 aggressive payment companies. And then I want to also remind you that David Litton, who is the founder of Sendfriend, he is another example of one of these fast-moving fintechs that are going to use XRP. This is someone who won the MIT award in 2018. At that time, there was actually a video on their site that said that he didn't really care if they used XRP or XLM by Stellar at that time. He didn't care. He was just focused on creating a payment solution that was going to be the cheapest. Well, Ripple snagged them. And in that snag, they were part of that 1.7 million that they brought to the table to give them some seed funding. They had committed to using Ripple and the XRP system, and then Ripple, along with MIT Media Labs, Barclays, Deloitte, Mahindra Finance, these are some of the big names that came to bring them their initial seed capital. And now you know that on Sunday, they actually launched from New Jersey, and they are bringing the immigrant workers who are from the Philippines, they are offering them the chance to move their money in a very fast, efficient, low-cost fashion. And this is the Sendfriend. Now, it's just in New Jersey right now, but they have made it clear through their sign-up page that they are expanding to other parts of the United States. This is a huge, oh, there's Momo again. This is a huge market. This is like $11 billion that moves from the United States back to the Philippines with immigrant workers that are working outside their home country. So this is so important to understand this multi-prong approach. And now, this is something I just did not pay attention to, and I am so glad that I found it. This is also from the recent Fortune conference that just took place a few days ago. And this is the city CEO. In fact, they open up this panel discussion by saying somebody from Goldman Sachs said that there are two kinds of banks, those that are screwed and those that don't know they're screwed. Yeah, those are not my words, but this is the wording that is being used because Michael Corbett, who is the CEO, he says that banks are trying to catch up and you're screwed if you are in denial. There's a lot of screws in those words, but this is their words, not mine. The current disaggregation of payment channels is a huge reality right now. And he goes on to say, and this is maybe the most important part of this entire video, he goes on to say, and I quote, he is a true believer in cryptocurrencies and their underlying blockchain technology. Citi can't enter the cryptocurrency realm because of regulation. So there you have it. So this is why we see XRP being a slow adoption in that particular channel of customers, all right? That's why the SMEs are vital to the XRP adoption. SMEs are going to have a parabolic growth for payment companies that are operated by these fintechs. Ripple's strategy to harness these SMEs will prove to be the path of least resistance for mass adoption. This is that multi-pronged approach. You have the banks, you have the fintechs, you have the SMEs, and you have the immigrant workers sending money back home. This wide net approach will result in mass adoption. All right, everybody, and this is something I have wanted to say for weeks. This is XRP Crypto Wolf. Wow. I am on Twitter. I only have 1,300 tweets. This machine in the XRP community has 9,837 tweets. He is just putting out information that you can't believe. I know there are so many great content providers and people who are sharing. He so unselfishly shares with everybody. I think a lot of the content creators are getting DMs. I get DMs from him almost every day. I have so appreciated it. And I know there's other people too who are really thankful for people like this in the community. He deserves a huge shout out. And I think that if you don't have a lot of time to research and doing your own research, I think this is one source you don't want to miss. So XRP Crypto Wolf, thank you so much for everything that you are doing. Okay, everybody, we're jumping to the fluff. So July in Japan is Matsuri month. Matsuri means festival, and they are all over the country right now, just not in Tokyo. Because the G20 is happening in Osaka, I was thinking I would focus on one that occurs in Osaka this coming July, and it is called the Tenjin Matsuri. It's considered one of the top 3 festivals in Japan. It is more than 1,000 years old. That is the big difference. You know, there's just Osaka and Tokyo are so different, and there's many, many reasons, but one of them is because the area of Tokyo, which is the old word called Edo, really only is from about the 1600s. But you go to the other parts of Japan and they have, you know, easily 1,000 and 2,000-year-old histories. So this is why, one of the reasons, there's many reasons, but this is one of the reasons why Osaka is so different than Tokyo. And they have a Matsuri that is really something. So one of the first things that you can do from morning until night, and it is free. That is the great thing about these festivals, is that they are free. And people really celebrate. There are thousands of people who have a procession through the streets that are dressed in this 8th to 12th century gear. It's very colorful, very exciting, very fun, and it is something that is really, wow. Thousands of photo Instagram chances to create an amazing array of photographs that capture the culture here in Japan. And also, too, they have the great Shishimai dance, which is the lion dance. There's also a big dragon dance, and the food is just out of this world. I have to just keep telling you that the food in Osaka is even better than the food in Tokyo, and their food is actually has some regional differences too as well, like takoyaki and okonomiyaki. It's just, oh wow, it's just for food lovers, Osaka is a foodie paradise. And then also you've got this music that occurs. These are the taiko drummers, and they are just so, when you hear the taiko drums, it just, taiko and matsuri just go together. People will also be dancing a dance to these drums. It's just really fun. And then one of the special things about Osaka is it's the city of water and light. So they do their processions also on water. And then the evenings are complete with a beautiful hanabi, which is the fireworks display. And so you've got just so many things to do from sunup to sundown for this matsuri that takes place in Osaka. I hope if you come to Japan in the summer, you come in July so that you can participate in the hundreds of festivals that occur this time of year. Okay, everybody. Yes, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.